music going to be as they come to the checkered flag? What a race this has been.
Ice oval racing is jumping on a rocket and just holding on and turning left.
27-year-old Kyle and his dad, 62, live and breathe racing. Kyle competes in ice oval snowmobile racing. He races his snowmobile around an oval track of pure ice at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. His dad, Kevin, is his crew chief, and alongside him every step of the way. They've had their ups and downs over the years, but always come out on top. Right now, they've returned to racing after taking a break while Kevin fought and continues to fight a difficult battle against cancer. It's their goal to continue racing and winning championships for as long as they can. The family's home, where Kevin and his wife still live, and where Kyle grew up, is a stone's throw away from the ice oval racing capital of Canada in Beausejour, Manitoba. It's a winter sport, but even before the snow flies, each fall Kyle can be found in his dad's garage, tinkering away on his 2 snowmobiles and getting them ready for race season.
It's the hard work that we put in, it's the development, it's neat tinkering with these things, seeing like, if we change this, how much is this gonna help us? And it's just the competitiveness. There's a lot of guys out there who everyone wants to win, and that's how I've always been. I'm competitive. I just want to go out there and just show everyone that I can race these things.
That competitive spirit was passed on to Kyle directly from his dad.
It always seemed that with racing, with anything, it mattered who got there first. And even my cousins riding bikes, we were racing. We used to ride on creeks when they were frozen, ditches, and even though we could have died breaking through the ice, we were still racing on the ice. It's just something we did.
The love of racing stayed with Kevin as he grew up. He bought a race car, started drag racing around town, and buying parts for the car as he could afford it. 40 years later, he still races when he can.
I will never sell that car, because that's like selling my soul, I guess, because I built it. What happens to it after I'm gone is out of my control.
So these are some of the photos throughout our racing history. For example, my dad racing his car. These 2 are probably the most memorable. This is actually our first weekend racing ever. We just put the sled together kind of thing, and we just went out there, almost zero expectations on what's going on. And we just slabbed one of my dad's old Indy hoods, covered in duct tape, just kind of go out there and have fun, and went out there and actually did pretty well. Was battling for second and blew it up, and after that moment I was pretty hooked.
Growing up, going to the racetrack was just part of life for Kyle.
Ever since I was a kid, my dad, he's been racing for years, drag racing in Gimli, and ever since I was a kid, been going on the track, watching him race. Every Sunday, watching NASCAR with him, and snowmobiling. I just love snowmobiling. Started, I don't even know, maybe at the age of 5, and going through the trails, I've always enjoyed the rush of it and trying to push myself more. Going in the trails, seeing how fast I can go in corner. And it was about 2011. My dad, he was volunteering at CPTC for years, and they just opened up a Formula 500 class. It'd be a stock engine Indy 500 from the years 89 to 93. And it's a class where engine stock, but you can customize how it looks, lighten as much as you can. And it's more of an entry class to the sport. And my dad asked me, would you be interested in it? And so saved up some money, and him and I started building it, and we started racing in 2011.
Kyle remembers that first race like it was yesterday.
My first race, it was very nerve-wracking, like first going out there. You think you understand the sled. Everyone thinks that it's just like a trail sled. It'll ride the same way, but going out there, I started off in 10th, made my way to 4th place, and it was an amazing feeling. It was a rush.
He might have gotten a little too excited about his 4th place finish.
When I crossed the finish line, I was all excited. I decided to do a fist pump, and sled went one way and I fell off and actually hit the bales pretty good. Yeah, I was pretty embarrassed, but it was pretty fun.
He may be able to laugh at himself, but at the end of the day, Kyle takes his racing seriously.
Like, it's not just going out, parking the sleds and, hanging out with people. It's the hours that are spent in here, the days spent prepping for it, the sacrifices we have to make, missing family events and stuff like that, just to finally make it all worth it, like to earn that win.
What they lack in resources, they make up with their can-do attitude and ability to put in a bit of elbow grease.
We're building, like we build anything we don't have to buy. It's really for what it looks like, for the tools we have. It's very nice. It's an accomplishment. Like, I'm more, Kyle's got my gift to drive, I guess, but as far as he's got things to learn, like about welding and stuff like this, but that's all practice and time, and he realizes now that he has to, if he wants to continue this, he has to learn it.
The team also likes to hit the road.
We've traveled many years to the States. We went to races like Strathcona, which is a small track by Greenbush, Minnesota. They have a couple Saturday races there. And we also used to go to Alexandria, Minnesota. We used to have a big race there for many years.
Look at the battle in turns 1 and 2.
Kevin trusts his son's racing instincts.
He won't take unnecessary risks. He raced a driver from the States, Kendra, and he could have wrecked her to pass her, but he didn't. And he finished second. He was being a gentleman, I guess. He's a smart racer. He knows that, yeah, winning is great, but it's not everything. You know what I mean? Finishing second isn't so bad.
He might say that, but that doesn't mean Kevin isn't proud when the team wins. His top moment came when he least expected it, and when Kyle wasn't even going to race. Kyle and Kevin had been working on the old white trail riding sled, but because Kyle had been traveling and in training for a new job, they hadn't had time to do any testing out on the track. The first race on Friday evening, the sled ended up shooting antifreeze all over him. Kyle and Kevin pulled an all-nighter, trying to get the sled going again. And then the next day on the track, something just clicked.
I ended up winning almost by half a lap. I led the last, I believe, 3 laps, and it was the most challenging, probably a challenging moment in my racing career because I was so exhausted, but it was just battle of the minds, telling myself, you can't let go, you're winning it, and I ended up winning by half a lap. It was probably my most happiest moment and memorable moment on the track. It was just the countless hours we did, like we had maybe 6 hours of sleep all weekend, and just the challenges we were dealing with, and just to have that kind of weight off our shoulders that we went out there and we won it. It was a long wait for that win.
Hold the brake. Put this one on so you don't knock it off.
If things aren't going our way, it's only minutes away if we have to go grab something, and it helps with our late nights if we have lots of work to do, so we can just be there within minutes. We don't have to be there bright and early like some of the drivers where they're in hotel rooms and they have to get up early to get everything set up. We can pretty much bring the trailer back here and work on them.
Racing is also an important outlet for Kyle. In his job as a corrections officer at a local prison, things can often become stressful. Ice oval racing allows him to take his mind off some of the stress he encounters at work.
I consider racing an outlet to basically anything that's going on. Like, I'm able to switch it off. Like, once racing's on the mind, it's, just get through everything else. Once I get on that starting line, it's just nothing else matters. I get tunnel vision and it's just worry about the race and the weekend. Like my job does have a lot of stress, but this is a way that I can take my mind off things and just enjoy it. It's my happy place.
There's not much that can keep ice oval racer Kyle Omichinski and his dad and crew chief Kevin off the racetrack. In December 2019, though, a different sort of race was occupying Kyle and Kevin's time. That is, the race to beat Kevin's stage 4 gastrointestinal cancer.
Fortunately, my dad, he's diagnosed with cancer, and so he had some issues with his medication that he was taking. It made a side effect that pretty much caused the mass inside him to push against his organs, and it caused him he wasn't able to eat, and he was literally starving to death. And so that happened in November, and the doctors were actually giving him weeks to live. They pretty much said that there's nothing they can do for him. So it was a pretty stressful couple of weeks. So he was fighting for his life for weeks, and we were waiting for answers to see if someone could do something.
Kyle decided he needed to be with his dad and pulled out of the first big race of the year.
As much as loved to be on the track, it wasn't on my mind at the time. Even if I could have been out there, it wouldn't be the same being out there, because I can't see myself doing this without him. And so it was difficult. Like, I went to the track in December, seen some of the guys, said hi kind of thing, and it was hard, but it was just kind of, I knew it's the right thing to do.
Thankfully, Kevin was able to have a successful surgery that saved his life.
It was that time was, how would you say, a reality check of what's important, what's not important. Like, you get to the point where nothing matters, you know what I mean? You should live in the moment, like Kyle says, and people have so much emphasis on money and all this, and I've been there where all this means nothing. Like, it means absolutely zero. The most important things are, basically, you have to live in the moment. You have to, and anybody that doesn't should, because you don't know when those moments are gone.
And as soon as he was on the upswing, the team didn't waste any time.
As soon as he was back out of the hospital, it was, let's get these sleds going. He wanted to make sure we made it out in March, so we busted our butts in January and February. I had my little cousin helping me, and we built this sled right here, the red one. It was just in pieces, and we got it all together for the March weekend.
Being back at the track for the March races isn't something either Kyle or Kevin takes for granted.
It really taught me to kind of live in the moment and appreciate what you're doing, kind of thing, because until some major happens in your life, you kind of take things for granted, like it's racing, okay, but realizing that, this could stop at any time. It's just that whole March, like, things were not going well, like within some aspects, but it was a matter of just appreciating, we're out here. It's better than sitting at home and thinking what could have been, right? So it was really nice to be out there again and seeing the guys, like the local guys, they knew what was going on with us, and it was nice. Everyone stopped by, said, hi, and happy we're back here, even messages, so it was really good. It was special.
Like I say, there's never a bad day at the racetrack. Something may go wrong, but you're gonna learn from those mistakes. You know what I mean? And as long as nobody gets hurt, that's all that matters to me. He goes out there, he comes off, he might be disappointed in his performance, but that'll pass in 10 minutes and away we go.
The bonding my dad and I have had over the years, and it's built a really good relationship between us.
That doesn't mean that come race day, things don't get heated.
The way we see it, like with our relationship, when things are heated, it's just, there can be a lot of yelling, there can be, it's a stressful moment, but we know the task that has to be on hand. Like, I remember, I believe it was 2018 in March, we were racing and I blew an engine. We had to change it within intermissions, and it was stressful. We had maybe 40 minutes to swap an engine out, put it in, and a buddy of mine, his wife came, and she was sitting in the trailer, and she was just surprised with how stressful it was for them. But It's part of the game. It's what we live for. It is stressful, but at the end of it, it's enjoying the time.
Their racing journey over the years has taught both Kyle and Kevin a thing or two, not just about racing, but about life. Both men recognize that there's a certain amount of risk that comes with their chosen sport. It's something that they've accepted, yet aren't complacent about.
The way I see it is if you're scared, you shouldn't be doing it. Like, I've had plenty of bad accidents, injuries and such, but you can't think about that, because as soon as that's in your head, you can't perform the best you can. Like, there is nerves and stuff before you go into a race, especially like in a final kind of thing. You're thinking about what could happen, and as soon as you're up there on the starting line, you shut it off, and you just gotta remain focused and do what you can. Major thing is when I was younger, you go in, you think, you gotta win all the time. You go out if second place isn't good enough kind of thing. But now, the way I see it, it's just enjoying the moment. You gotta learn to kind of take a step back. You can't take every race as trying to win it all. Like, I've found over my 9 years of racing is you gotta be patient. You can't, when it comes to heat races, as much as you wanna be the person who's in first place all the time, you have to strategize, you have to don't push it too far until the final kind of thing. Because I've seen too many people where they try to push themselves too much and it ends up, they make a mistake or, possibly hurt somebody. So the biggest thing over the years is just learning that patience that, there's still other races during the weekend. You're not going to win it all the first race.
For Kevin, racing is about so much more than a single competition. It's something that brings him inexplicable joy.
It's a passion. It's just like racing car. It's that, for me, it's 10 seconds of, like Kyle says, freedom. It's just like, you get to the end of the track and you can, like when drag racing, you know when you ran a good pass, and it's just that, he's almost like shivers up your spine. It's just pure joy. Like he's living my dream, so to speak. Like I'm watching him do it. Like me, I do it. For me, it's like an artist.
Kevin hopes that the lessons his son will take away from racing will stay with him.
Anything he should learn from racing is that he is in nobody's shadow. He always says, like, maybe we should be doing what they're doing, and I says, maybe they're looking at us what we're doing because you are doing so well. Like, he goes out there and his expectations are higher now because he's better, but it's like I always say, it's poetry in motion. For a father to watch, it's beautiful.
It's thanks to his dad that Kyle is able to compete.
Dad's life and blood of this whole thing. He's the mechanic, he's the brains of the operation. Beginning it, I didn't really know. I knew basic stuff about snowmobiles, just beginning into mechanics, and he was the one that helped me build it, and he's there every step of the way. Throughout the years, it's been just him and I, just late nights working on these things, and pretty much he's given me all the support I can ask for. Like, he's taught me everything I know about these sleds, and taught me the drive, like what needs to be done and what it takes to get these things going the way they are.
Kyle knows his dad won't be beside him at the racetrack forever, but his dad's encouragement and inspiration will always be part of his racing.
I just want to go out there, and it's like I owe it to my dad, like for all the years of him putting the hard work and the effort in. And just to kind of go out there and all the hard work and stuff that was for something, and like it means a lot to us when we go out there and perform well, because it's not like we went out there and we bought these sleds. We're just going out there. We built these from the ground up. Whatever we couldn't afford, we made it ourselves, and it's a lot more fulfilling when you win with something that you made yourself.
Looking at the future, Kyle has many goals about racing, but there's one that stands out above all others.
Down the road, when I have kids, I want to be able to get them into racing. It's hard to describe the feeling and enjoyment out of it, like the amount of time and effort we put in, and just the feeling of once that flag waves, it's just nothing else matters.
His dad will always be a part of Kyle's racing journey, no matter where it takes him over the years. After all, as Kyle simply says,
It's in my blood.